Welcome to day 18 of our 30 lessons we've learned in 30 years of ministry. Now, I want to say something here in this particular lesson. The most effective ministers are people that are focused upon that which God has called them to do. And they are not distracted by something. And I explain what that thing is. And you don't need any title to be effective in being an effective minister, all right, or effective in anything that you are doing, either within the kingdom or in the marketplace. Don't focus on receiving new titles. What you should focus on is your level of productivity as a person. They will offer you titles and offer you positions if you are highly productive and impactful that you might choose to even turn down. They will offer you places and things that others consider as promotion, but you, right, might be at liberty to even turn those things down, being focused upon your level of productivity as a person. And there's a story in the book of Judges, chapter 9, and I'll read it from verse 8 to verse 17. And the trees, the Bible tells us, went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. And then they went to meet the olive tree. So they wanted to anoint a king and make one of them the leader. And they went to meet the olive tree, and they said, "Reign thou over us." And many will jump at that and say, "Well, I've been offered to reign over them." But the olive tree said unto them, "Should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go and be promoted over the trees?" He says, will I leave my fatness, which means the real contribution I am making, that I am designed to make as the olive tree, supplying oil. And by this, people honor God for my life, benefiting maximally from me, and people are blessed. So he turned it down and said, "I'm not taking this title of reigning over you." And then the trees one said, "Well, let's go and meet the fig tree. Come down and reign over us." But the fig tree said to them, "Should I forsake my sweetness?" In other words, if I take this position of rulership and become king over you, to be at the expense of my fatness as the olive tree, or my sweetness here as the vine, the essence, what attracts people to me, the essence of my being will be lost in this particular office that you have given to me. He says, "Must I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit and go and be promoted over the trees?" Then the trees said unto the vine, "Come down and reign over us." And the vine said, "Should I leave my wine?" Should I leave that? So you can't do both at the same time. You have to leave one or forsake one. You make a decision to do something, you are forsaken. Don't ever think both can be done. You are forsaking one for the other. Think about what I said here. 360 degrees here. It doesn't just relate to this, it relates to several things. A decision to go one way, it's also a decision to forsake certain things. Then he goes on and says, "Which cheereth God and man, and go and be promoted over the trees?" And then what happened was, he said, "And forsake my sweetness and my good fruit, and go and be promoted over the trees. Then said the trees unto the vine, Come down and reign over us." All right, we've read this. And the vine said, "Should I leave this?" Then said the trees, "Come unto the bramble, come and reign over us." And the bramble said unto the trees, "If in truth you anoint me to be king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now therefore, if you have done truly and sincerely in that which you have made Abimelech king, So he was talking about Abimelech to be king. So it was an analogy he plated here. That is, the bramble tree that accepted to be king, they didn't have any real value that it was contributing, right? And that sense of identity from their level of productivity. So they opened. And the lesson here is that, look, a fire is going to come out of this and devour. In other words, there's going to be strife. There are going to be all kinds of things. So be very, very cautious about accepting positions that are elevated, that may give you rulership over others, quote and unquote, but at the expense of what really you as a person are supposed to contribute as an individual. That's why it says, if a man is called into the office of teaching, let him wait upon his teaching. It's in that office you impact. And if somebody comes and says you've been very impactful, want to move you into something else. You know, they came to meet Jesus after he multiplied loaves and said, come and become king over us. They wanted to take him out of the office that God placed him to enter into another office that they felt will be useful or they'll be able to manage. But they were taking him out of, and Jesus refused to do that. And in the same way, you have to be conscious that you grow in the area of your calling. You sit in the office that God has called you and you evolve. And you have that grace being multiplied within your life in the impact that you're having. It's an organic thing that goes from within. And Satan has this strategy to distract you away from that core issue into something else that looks like an elevated position, but is at the expense of that very thing. And after some time, they can take that thing away from you. And then you'll have lost that natural thing that flows out of your being. And you'll realize at the end of the day, it was actually a satanic setup. So stay with that which God has placed on the inside of you. Cause that to grow, increase, and let your usefulness to humanity be found in the contributions that you're making and how you serve them and impact their lives, and not by any title that you receive that makes you feel that you are exalted over the people, where there is no growth in the impact. People will appreciate you, people will honor you, provided that impact is on the increase. You don't need titles from any person. What you need is to grow in your relevance in the lives of the people and in the contribution that you are making to them. So avoid that distraction. Major lesson I learned. Right. I hope that blessed you. See you tomorrow as we continue with lesson 19.